Hello, everyone. Welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Pushkar Limaye, who is the founder and CTO of Carnot, which is a full stack agri-tech platform that helps farmers to improve their income up to 30%. Hi, Pushkar. Welcome to ELI.
Hi Priya, thank you so much and thanks for hosting me in the show.
I would request you to introduce yourself to our audience and introduce in a way that we get to know about your background, where you were born and brought up, where did you study, and what are the different events in your life that led to entrepreneurship.
Okay, perfect. That's a good one to start with. So quick intro. Hi, I'm Pushkar Limaye. I'm CTO and co-founder of Carnot Technologies. To tell you a little bit about my personal journey and then maybe I'll arrive at how I started off. I am born and brought up in Mumbai, neighborhood of Dadar and then Vileparle for those who are from Mumbai. And I was brought up in a very typical Maharashtrian environment of, I stayed in a stall for first 10 years of my life, which is like a hostelish environment for adulthood. And, but I was raised in a Marathi medium school, good Marathi medium school, but it was a Marathi medium environment till my 10th standard.
Mhm.
And in general, in my family, there are a lot of chartered accountants. My father, my uncle, even my grandfather used to be uh, of the same domain, and I used to think that that is what I'm supposed to do. But
Mhm.
few things, as you said, dots connect looking backwards. Few things happened back then, and I just decided to sort of join engineering classes with my friends, and
Mhm.
unknowingly sort of got through IIT JEE and ended up in IIT. So I'm an IIT Bombay alumnus, passed out in 2013, mechanical engineer for degree's sake. I think it didn't personally matter what engineering you had done is my personal opinion. It's more of a problem-solving attitude.
Mhm.
But I think there are two, three key events, Priya, that I think changed my life. I think the first one was getting into IIT,
Mhm.
and in IIT it changed me fundamentally, and especially the hostel life changed me fundamentally as a person. I mean, when I joined, I was a little bit of a scared introvert individual,
Mhm.
just to be open and honest. But just learning from my peers, learning from few of the great people, great friends that I made in my hostel days, sort of gave me that confidence of, I can also do things and I can also be up there, right?
Mhm.
So I think in the beginning I was quite an introvert, not much, socially connected sort of person. But then the second main important point of my life happened, which is called IIT Bombay Racing Team.
Mhm.
So this is like a Formula student team. So it's same format as Formula One that we do for student level.
Mhm.
And I ended up participating in the team to begin with as a let's build out a telematics system for that car.
Mhm.
And the thing that happened is in my first year, we went to Silverstone in UK as India's first electric race car from IIT Bombay, and there was a certain factor or certain thing that I had imagined us to be at a certain level. But when I went there, I saw a huge gap in the quality of engineering that we have done versus what the best looks like, and I
Mhm.
realized that we have been too theoretical in life.
Mhm.
Engineering goes beyond just usual aspects of our theory. Engineering can be applied to anything in life. For example,
Mhm.
those teams in Formula Student had a great engineered pit lane. How the car should be displayed, how it should be kept clean, what who should be managing food and beverages. So I just realized that it's a massive gap in engineering. I
Mhm.
attempted Formula Student again in the second year, and that time we came in the top 20 of top 20 of the global universities, etc. in certain aspects, right?
Mhm.
So that event sort of forced me into thinking two things. One, engineering is far more beautiful than what I imagine or what I'm learning so far, and hence I want to stick with engineering. That was a key lesson because
Mhm.
in engineering many times you eliminate what find out what you don't want to do. But
Mhm.
in my case, I ended up finding what I want to do, which was some hardcore engineering. And second thing is I was kind of forced into leadership
Mhm.
uh, due to that experience of leading 60 people team along with my few of my batchmates.
Mhm.
And I realized that I'm enjoying it. And sometimes you feel like you won't enjoy leadership, but then that experience sort of forced me to lead and made me realize that this is not bad. In fact,
Mm,
I'm loving what I'm doing. Right. So because of those two incidences, I had this very simple one-line problem statement in my life. Can we build world-class, products out of India, which are
mm,
at par with global standards? And
mm,
the inspiration completely comes rooted down from seeing that Formula Student car built by me versus seeing the Formula Student cars which are best in the world. And it
mm,
was as simple as, okay, can there be one product which is now which can really compete and look out and stand out against all of them? And
mm,
that is the reason that I sort of decided to stay back and start up. And it was a very blind and sort of like not a very big dreamy sort of jump that I that the plunge that I took into entrepreneurship. It was a very humble thinking of what we have built as a telematics system for my Formula Student car. Can I build it for usual consumer cars? But can I
mhm,
do it in a way that makes me stand out and make us extremely proud about what I have built? That's it. So that is the basis at which or because of which I started up. So just to summarize in a nutshell, born and brought up in Mumbai in a Marathi medium school, got into
mhm,
IIT, entered Formula Student world, realized engineering is beautiful. And in order to build something out of India, which is at par with global standards, started Carnot Technologies in 2015. That's my story.
mm. Okay. So in 2015 you started and you wanted to do something around car. Uh, how did you arrive at Agritech? What's the connection?
Okay, so we are an accidental agri-tech startup. We did not start with agri-tech. In fact, I had not even seen what farming looks like until as recent as 2019. So I think agri-tech came majorly because of Mahindra and Mahindra investment, which happened in 2018. So the way it happened is, we started building the car telematics product when we started
Mm,
our journey in 2015. We raised a seed round from Sandeep Tandon and Kunal Shah, the angel investors, and I rated them both, very highly in terms of support and mentorship they provided. But
mm,
and we ended up selling, I think, around 12,000 of the car tracking devices in first 1.5 year,
mhm,
right? So after all of it, usually, as a founder, you end up understanding what your USP is or what your strength is. And what we realize is what we built in Carnot, A was a product which was running and which was beautiful, but more important thing that we could really build out strongly is a DNA. And
mm,
we had an extremely product and tech centric DNA, probably because of me and my other co-founders coming from the tech background.
mhm,
Whereas what we realize is in the car device tracking business, you have to be extremely operations or distribution heavy, or we need those kind of skill sets to win that market. So we sort of realize that even if we raise another round for that product, we will end up sort of creating a bubble of some sorts. So there were two options: either run it small and make it profitable for and spend 10-20 years doing so, or
mhm,
second thing is accept the fact and tie up with someone who has major distribution, right? So and around that time we started exploring beyond car product. In fact, there was a very in funny incidents that sort of changed the trajectory of Carnot. Is that on one fine day I was traveling in a cab with my earphones as well as my aux cable plugged in
mhm,
on the car's audio system, etc. And then we heard weird noises from the music system when car revs, etc. So realize every time your car runs, it charges your battery and it
mm,
produces sort of like some kind of chichi chichi signals on your battery.
mhm,
So we in fact went ahead and recorded that audio signal as not the audio, as the electrical signal as an audio, as literally an MP3 file, and we could extract information such as engine speed, engine load, fuel efficiency based on
mhm,
that data, and a lot of machine learning done on top of it.
mhm,
So while that was very cool as a science experiment and just to show off to friends, what that opened up is sort of analytics for all vehicles that do not have sensors, right? I
mhm,
mean, if you look at your car, it has hundreds of sensors inside already. That's why you see all those cool gadgets on the screen. But if you think of a tractor or a truck or a bike, it
mhm.
doesn't. There is no sensor in it,
Right.
right? So based on this specific finding and the device that the technology that we built, we won something called as Qualcomm Design in India Challenge, QDIC,
Mhm,
in 2016, if I remember correctly. And that was a 100,000 USD grant given to three winners out of
wow.
400 applicants. So Qualcomm changed our life in two ways. A, at that time we were sort of at value of death, to be honest, because we had decided not to raise for the car product. So,
Mm-hmm.
we were salaryless for some n number of months, and it was a situation. And it also sort of attached ourselves with a big tech brand as a validation for external world as, hey, these guys are doing something cool, right? So because of Qualcomm, we got some breathing time to sort of explore partnerships or potential investments from OEMs. And at that time, we were speaking with Mahindra as well as through some dotted line connects, one of the big bike OEM of India,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we had opportunity to go and be serious about both to convert into investment, strategic investment, etc. But things worked quite well with M&M because
Mm-hmm.
Mahindra was already building telematics for their tractors, and they sort of believed in telematics being the future of this industry.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in bikes, what in a one line, what we learned was, if you have a technology that reduces 10 rupee of bike's cost, you are welcome. If you're improving a rupee, you are going to be R&D project. You're not going to be on. So,
Mm-hmm.
sort of that led us to choose Mahindra over other options. And of course, because of the people, because of interaction with Dr. Goenka, which was, brilliant at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And hence we got into Agtech. I mean, once we went inside Mahindra ecosystem, that's like world's biggest tractor manufacturer opening up their arms for distribution. And
Mm-hmm.
then it only made sense that we sort of build for farmers, we build for tractors, etc. So that is how we entered Agritech in 2018.
Mm-hmm. Now, since 2018, it's been 5 years, and I'm sure you have built a more cool products. So, tell us about what is the current scale of operation, what are the different products and services we have under car, and what
Okay.
what what else has happened?
Okay. Perfect. So lot of things have happened. So, I think your question also made me sort of look back and, get a flashback movie in front of my eyes. But, to tell you in nutshell, we have two type of products. There is a product in itself, and then there are a few services which we provide to M&M. So let me talk about the products which are, the key or
Sure.
flagship products for us. So right now, the flagship product for us is called Krishi Smart Kit, which is also called SimMarket. We sell under both brands.
Mm-hmm.
What is this kit? This is very interesting device. I mean, even just to tell you in simple words, let me give an analogy. If there was no meter for a taxi, or let's say if there was no Google Maps, your Ola and Uber will not exist, right? Because there is no billing possible for a taxi. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if you think of India's, entire farming land, which goes under a tractor, 95% of that land goes under a tractor through renting.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean is, if there are 50 farmers, only one farmer owns a tractor. Remaining nine rent it out, right? So that renting work happens by a person who owns a tractor or fleet of tractor, and they have drivers employed, etc. And then they're supposed to get paid based on how many acres of work is there or how many hours are spent on the farm,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when we went into UP, actually we moved to UP for 8 odd months to learn about Agritech and to learn about our customers. We realized that it's completely non-transparent domain. People have no, I mean, there are every now and then there are jhagde between farmer and the tractor guy about how much bill they should charge, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where we saw an opportunity. So what this Krishi Smart Kit does is, it is a usual GPS tracking device that is plug and play. I mean, literally, it can go into any tractor or harvester model in less than 15 minutes over a WhatsApp video call, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So we have made that simple to install and that simple to use. But the magic sauce that it brings is it's able to differentiate using our proprietary algorithms on cloud. What is a farm and what is a road, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happens, because we could separate what is a farm and what is a road, we are also able to find out what is the boundary of the farm and how much time is spent on the farm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And based on all of these different things, we sort of, fancy words, we have become a ERP solution for people who rent out their tractors,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now, while this sounds very cool, it gave us an instant distinction between all competitors, because there is a very high risk of, okay, आपका GPS tracking device है category में जाने का, there is a very high risk of going into that category with the business we are in. But
Mm-hmm.
because of this IP of differentiating area and differentiating farm and the road, we were quite defensible, unlike the car product which we have built.
Hmm.
Second thing is, the point to note here is right now we are at already 33,000 of these units in India, as well as 3,000 units in Africa. So,
Mm-hmm.
we have quite some healthy install base. But the validation actually came for us 6 months or 1 year after we, started installing these kits. And you may ask why. So why is that is I personally believe as an entrepreneur, the biggest validation is someone pays you. There is
Mm-hmm.
no other validation, there is no other survey, or there is no other gut feeling that you should go with. So, the biggest validation that came to us was this device basically has a SIM card inside it.
Mm-hmm.
And every 6 months ke baad ya 1 year ke baad, people have to pay up to 2,000 rupee per year to continue the service. Based on the industry benchmark, based on whatever we had heard, and based even if you ask ChatGPT today,
Mm-hmm.
describing our product, what is a good benchmark, the answer comes out to be around 50%. Like
Mm-hmm.
50% is considered to be great. I mean, you have killed it. So I'm very happy to share that over 10 odd thousand recharges that have happened so far, 10, 15,000, we are at around 75% to 80% rate. And
Wow.
there are people who are on our platform from last 3 to 4 years. So,
Mm-hmm.
that is something that as a founder I feel deeply, happy, deeply satisfied about. So that is our key hero product right now, which is a Krishi Smart Kit. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, now what we are doing is we are building scalable, ecosystem around that product. What I mean is we already have a cloud that handles 200 million data points every day. We are now building a customized analytics solution for all B2B partners. For example, sugarcane mills, or in Kenya, for example, we are building a solution for a bank as a proxy credit score, etc. And we are also entering few interesting partnerships in India around that product. And
Mm-hmm.
the most interesting one I want to speak about is a partnership that we are doing with Avanti Capital,
Mm-hmm.
which is where usually as a tractor owner you have to put something to at mortgage as a mortgage to get a loan, right? And this entire tractor and farmer wala relation happens on credit. So in reason they are, basically in few lakhs in INR in terms of their capital. So they feel need of easy capital in that season to fund their diesel, fund their driver costs, etc. So what we came up with was a proxy. It was the data analytics as a proxy for mortgage product. So what
Mm-hmm.
we do is we provide Avanti Capital a proof of someone's tractors using usability being very high, and
Mm-hmm.
show that as a proof of credit worthiness of a person. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
Avanti uses their own algorithms and data checks on top of it to sort of give a mortgage-free loan at a very reasonable, almost half of the non-organized rate to the RE. So we went live with this pilot very soon, and fingers crossed. So far, we have close to 100% recovery rate as well, due to various data checks and e-match sort of systems that we have used. But if you so one thing is this is like a business or data being used as a proxy and a credit score. But if you really think about our customer point of view, for them it's a huge thing. I mean, whenever I see them smiling because of getting a loan on time, and how big that problem is in farmers, I just feel like, okay, for the first time, probably in Agritech, there is data being used for something good as like getting a loan for the tractor owners case. So we are quite hopeful that this thing will really scale. And now, in fact, we are getting an inbound pull from some of the people to buy the kit so that they become eligible for this program. Right. So that is going quite strong. Second thing, as I said, we are building few things for sugarcane mills, for leasing companies, etc. And this is targeted not just for India but across the globe as well. For example, in South Africa, we are soon starting a pilot with Bluetooth button along with our GPS kit, so that we can put those GPS buttons on high cost implements or machineries, and we can find out what farm used what machine, behind the tractor jo attached hota hai implement. Similarly, we are also doing a small pilot with a construction equipment company to find out whether their arm is moving or not moving, etc. So these are a lot of small product developments that are now sort of getting along as an ecosystem, and our kit is sort of becoming a central node, or central hero of the whole ecosystem. And what we are really trying to do is improve productivity and efficiencies of fleets of any agri asset that is out there. So we want to get more into global ecosystem now in next 1 year. In fact, the target is to get 10,000 units out outside India by FY 24. So let's see, that will go well. So that's about our product. So this is the main thing that we have built. And along with it, there is a brand called Krishi.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, after Mahindra's, so just flashback, while this product was getting built, Mahindra invested in 3 rounds in Carnot, and now they own around 70% of us. So we have
Mm-hmm.
technically, we are a group company and we are acquired by M&M. So that's also quite good tick mark as a getting to some conclusion point as a founder. So with Mahindra, we are building few things as a service arm of Krishi, which is their Agritech brand, or the brand that brings all the Agtech of M&M under one radar. So build a lot of things like crop advisory, or a digital plot monitoring solution. We are also entering, doing a thing for sugarcane harvesting using satellite imagery and AI, etc. So those are some of them are green shoots, or long term bets that M&M has taken. Some of them have already gone live with around 1.5 million users. But all in all, around 1.5 million farmers in India have downloaded these various apps and services that we have built.
Mm-hmm.
And that is in a nutshell what we are doing. And of course, you should always stay tuned, because Krishi is bringing in few interesting things around used tractor, and a tech driven, a solid used tractor platform very soon. And Carnot will be sort of the tech partner, or someone who is powering the entire tech for all of this.
Wow,
That's what we do.
cool. So we have understood about the company, about the products, and about the business model. Uh, Now we would like to learn a little bit about the personal side of being an entrepreneur. So tell us why entrepreneurship? I think you went to a good college. You could have got a good job with the cool projects that you did. I think any company would be very delighted to hire you as an employee. And of course, after graduation, I think you were salary less for quite some time building the company. So what's this craze about entrepreneurship? Why entrepreneurship is something that you chose?
Got it. So I'll be very, very honest here. I mean, when I started, I don't think I had, looking back, I don't think I had a lot of maturity in terms of decision making for why entrepreneurship. But I
Mm,
think that was also good. But the main, if I talk about the main reason why I started up, I think there was a little sense of giving back, wanting to give back to society that I had deeply. That mainly is because I was coming from a not so well off school, or not the best ideal condition that someone might come in. As in, I hadn't seen what first world looks like when in my childhood,
mm,
to be honest. And then I also saw that there is a huge gap in local problems and solutions that are introduced. I mean,
mm,
everywhere I was seeing in India, whenever I see things, at least back then, now things are changing. I used to see, some Indian problem and some Western solution, especially when it comes to fundamental technology or fundamental engineering. And there was
mm,
an itch of, okay, let me solve one local problem in a local way, or using our product, or using something that we have built, etc. So
mhm,
that feeling of, okay, kuch to banana hai and kuch to build karna hai,
mm,
that sort of forced me into entrepreneurship, to be honest, along with, of course, uh, a, a very strong urge to give back to the society, right? So those two things combined made me jump into it. But I think what made me sustain was a different thing. What made me sustain was, first of all, you know, my luck introduced few great people in my life, including the
mm,
seed investors that we got, my co-founders, as well as some of the people, the first employees of Carnot,
mhm,
and then lastly, Mahindra and Mahindra, which is the ultimate investor and who acquired us as well. But I think all of these people sort of allowed me to be myself and keep building good things, which I think will be very difficult, or which I think I'll find extremely difficult in any non-ownership environment, right? So
mhm,
there is one thing, as the glamorous things of, okay, you call yourself your boss, and that really is not helpful beyond a day or two. What
mhm,
is really helpful is you own a problem and you own the solution, and you really own all bad things that come with it. Let me tell you that feeling of owning a difficult problem and solving it after a lot of struggle is unmatchable with anything else. So I think a lot of such moments kept happening in Carnot, because it was almost like a roller coaster, high low sort of ride,
mhm,
especially because we were in hardware. I can tell you that we went through few nightmares. I mean, absolute nightmares. Where we are almost going to shut down twice or thrice. But I think when you come out of those experiences, right? I mean, it's difficult to go back and think of something else. So
Mm,
the bond that you make with your core team members or the early employees, I think after one point you also work for them. So,
mm,
the entrepreneurship was not just for me, but just also for my team once I sort of went through a certain ride with them. And that's why I think I could sustain. I mean, I could have easily, reverted back after 2, 3 years of starting up and, probably given it up to someone else. But I think the bond sort of made me keep going. So just to put the answer in a way, I started because of a urge to give back to society and to solve a local problem in a local way in India. And but I continued because of the amazing teammates and amazing investors that I got. So yeah, that's what it was.
Speaking of amazing investors, I think you were in the initial days we were backed by Kunal Shah, who is a popular entrepreneur and a investor in Indian startup context. So
Mm.
tell us about your experience with him. Any anecdotes you'd like to share?
Okay, sure. So I think I will like to mention both Kunal Shah and Sandeep Tandon because
Mm,
my personal interaction has been more with Sandeep.
mm,
With Kunal, I think he believes in a team. What my he must have. I have met him twice or thrice, to be honest.
mm,
Apart from the usual interaction, because Rohan, my CEO, used to lead the fundraise, but
mm,
what it was just 1 or 2 meetings with Kunal, and he had made his decision, sort to say. So I think he read a lot in the team and in the people more than getting into a lot of details. And
mm,
his gut feeling was very much based on the experience or wisdom he has from his startup experience. So he's almost has a massive edge over other investors because he can guess the good startups and bad startups quickly.
mm,
And in the operations, I think he had given us complete ownership, and they never interfered with any decision. And in fact, Kunal was extremely, we all know he's a champion of brand making in India, so to say. So even in the early days, car product, a lot of our consumer focus and a lot of our, attention to details around brand were sort of imposed from him, and that really helped us. But apart from Kunal, Sandeep Tandon, proved out to be, I still will rate him as one of the best investors out there.
mm,
Because especially for hardware startups. I mean, he has his own listed company called Sirma Technologies,
mm,
which is in EMS manufacturing, etc. So we of course got some benefit of credit line and some good mentorship from his team. But
mm,
I think because he has seen startup industry up close, he knows it requires patient capital. I mean, he wasn't looking for making 1 lakh devices in a month sort of thing, but he was extremely empathetic towards founders and
mm,
extremely aware of the challenges that it brings on the table when you build a hardware startup. So with
mm,
Sandeep, I mean, I still meet him sometime, and I'll still love to get as much gyan from him as possible in life in general. That's because just I find him extremely you know uh, grounded to reality despite being the position that he is in. I mean, he's
mm,
running few very big things,
mm,
and still he's able to relate with me being a small founder.
mm,
Uh, on a very different level. I mean, one thing is when you speak on strategy level and give a general gyan
mm,
versus when you are absolutely pinpointing a problem and a solution. So he had that great ability to do those things.
mm.
And, I still look forward to, whenever I do next startup, I mean, Sandeep will be one of the first person to reach out to for me as a mentor, as an investor, etc.
Well, on this note, I think we are up with the time. Thanks for joining,
Okay.
Pushkar. It was a wonderful session and, really a great learning experience for me as well. I would say my best wishes for Carnot and thanks for joining.
Yeah. Thank you, Priya. Thank you so much. It was pleasure coming into the show as well. Thank you.
Thank you.